WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Check it out right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, and now,
the 3 times sexiest man in Millington, Johnny Harden.
Welcome in. Apparently, John has some issues today. I can't really go into detail too much, but John will not be in today. Me and Drew Barrett will be driving the ship today. Of course we do. We've done this before. We have been out here, but welcome into Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. We have a pretty loaded show today. As normal, at 1:25, we will be having John Luke McCord on the show to talk SEC and college football. At 2 o'clock, Johnny Radio himself, the mixologist, will be joining us to talk MLB playoffs. I mean, I'm excited for it. And then at 2:25, of course, per normal, we're getting to Hardenwood. A couple house cleaning things before we get into our big Monday Night Football discussion, because what I saw last night was very disturbing out of the Browns. I look at Baker Mayfield, and I have a couple of things I would like to mention about him when we get to it. But he absolutely sort of made a fool of himself last night. And the 49ers look pretty good. But I want to start here, a little bit of NFL news. The Titans have cut and parted ways with Cairo Santos, their kicker, after missing 4 crucial, honestly very crucial field goals in their Sunday game. And
you know, that's a firing to where you get called into the GM's office and they say, we're going to have to let you go. You don't really have an argument. You kind of just go, yeah, I thought so. It's cool. My bad. Maybe I'll see y'all down the line. I'll get myself worked out. I'll just see the receptionist get my last paycheck, or how does that work? Y'all mail it to me? Like, you kind of understand.
You knew it was coming, though. You knew it was coming.
And he
Ryan
knew it was coming.
He's obviously, Ryan Suckup is their main guy, and he's been great for them over the years, and Cairo Santos was a step-in guy. And you knew once he missed 4 field goals, this is not like Adam Vinatieri. Adam Vinatieri is a guy who's been around for 20-plus years. If he misses 4 field goals, chances are he might bounce back. I mean, just realistically. So that's why you see a guy like Cairo Santos sort of get cut. After they did give him a vote of confidence, too, on that Sunday, and it was very interesting to see him get cut, but you sort of saw it coming. Yesterday, the Memphis Tigers hosted their pro day for all of their multiple recruits that they have brought in with the 2019 class. James Wiseman was obviously on display, and Precious Achiuwa were the two main guys for next year's draft that you look at. But obviously, there's guys on the line. Lester Quinones is a guy who definitely has some ability. There's some development there. Boogie Ellis as well. But I think from all the tweets I saw, I don't think we learned much. James Wiseman is a freak, an absolute freak. He had a 9'6" standing reach and a 7'4" wingspan, and we know how high he can jump. I think he jumped past the 12 feet that was allotted, which is absolutely
I mean,
crazy.
If you look at the picture, just the one picture I saw, you could clearly see about a good third of his middle finger was above the last slot.
I mean, he beat the system. Like, he literally beat the vertical jump, whatever the heck you call that thing. But that was something going on here. And then tonight, we have the Grizzlies playing R.J. Hampton and the New Zealand Breakers at the FedEx Forum. Or R.J. Hampton just joined Middays, just joined Greg and Eli, and that will be on the Sports 56 app. You need to make sure you check that out. It was very interesting things talking about where he would have committed had he gone to college. Very interesting. And I thought RJ did a really good job, as well as Greg and Eli. But Monday Night Football.
Well, before we get to Monday Night Football, I do want to kind of go back to the Tigers Pro Day. And I think that it's something you're going to see with a lot more programs coming out to do. Obviously, this was Memphis's first Pro Day. But when you have as many talented guys on your team now, it's having pro days like that is a way to keep making sure your recruitment pipeline and the good recruits still want to come to you regardless of, because everybody always says there's only one ball. There's only so many shots to go around. Well, if I can offer a guy a pro day to where basically like, look, you've got this amount of time, spotlights on you before the season even starts, like you're going to get seen. I not only are we going to get nationally televised and scouts are going to see you all year, but just in case there aren't enough minutes to go around, you don't feel like your talents are shown. I'm having a pro day here for you. I'm having 90 guys here for you.
You still have to play minutes regardless of the situation. You can have a pro day all you want, but at the end of the day, it's great to see what Penny has done with his program. He's not shying away from that. He's letting recruits know, and I do agree with you to a certain extent. He's letting recruits know that you can come here and be a one and done. I embrace that, and he's made it very clear that he wants those recruits to be on the team.
And even without being the one and done, say, I don't think Lester Quinones is a one and done. I actually think that he has somewhat of an opportunity to be a fan favorite. I think he has the charisma for it. He kind of has that out there personality for it, and also he does have the talent. But for a guy like that, it shows you like, hey, maybe just because I'm not a one and done guy doesn't mean that being a first round draft pick is out of the question, because I can show these scouts every year that they come back, as long as I'm here in Memphis, how much I have improved. And when, Penny starts talking about, and pretty much every coach will say this, once you get into basically conference play, start of the new year, your rotation it gets smaller. You look to only run about 9 guys per game, so where you give the other 6 still on the bench some hope to be shown that they have abilities.
I mean, with the amount of talent on this team, I have a feeling there's going to be another one and done or two and done type of guy. I mean, it's just inevitable when you look at like Kentucky. No one thought Tyler Hero was going to be a sort of one and done guy. No one thought that he was going to end up in the draft, be a lottery pick, but he did. And I think there's guys on this team, especially like Lester, that could do that with the ability to shoot, with the ability to play defense and be a two-way player.
And with a lot of these recent one and done players, as it's becoming more of a part of college basketball, at least for another couple more years before the NBA allows high schoolers to go straight into the NBA. A lot of the one and done guys, they don't really perform at the college level. I mean, you think back to some of the recent ones, like they haven't really had the best college performance. I mean, some of those Kentucky players, because there is only one ball to go around, and when you have pro days like this, you can show why I'm still a first-round quality guy.
Yeah, those guys still have most of these guys that have been in the lottery, despite like the Michael Porter Jr.'s who got hurt and didn't play at all. Like I get there are guys like that with just crazy talent that end up in those positions regardless of what they did in their careers at their given school. But I feel like most of those guys did produce to a certain extent. They were productive in their school and at their university. But Monday Night Football, man, now it's time to move on. I was amazed. Baker Mayfield, I've tried to be nice to him. I've tried to be on his side. But what he does just I can't protect anymore. He didn't shake hands with the 49ers. He comes out, he goes 8 for 22 with 100 yards, 2 interceptions. That's a QBR of, get it, 1.4.
Overall 29.8 for the season.
It's disgusting. Look, if you're going to do that, then at least put it on the field. Show that you have the if you're going to have the audacity to not shake hands in warmups, then at least show me on the field that you can make up for that lack of sportsmanship and just overall well-being for the other team. Like I like Baker. I think he can be a good NFL quarterback, but eventually he's going to have to chill out with all these antics.
He really is, and I think that maybe some of the comparisons people made about him kind of coming out, that he was a sober or a nicer Johnny Manziel, a better Johnny Manziel. Well, we're starting to kind of see a little Johnny Manziel come out in Baker Mayfield. I mean, come on, you wouldn't put it past Money Manziel not shaking hands at the coin toss. You wouldn't put it past.
Yeah, but the problem with Johnny Manziel, if he wouldn't have sort of abused these drugs off the field, if he wouldn't have gotten himself in trouble off the field so much, it wouldn't have been the situation. Baker Mayfield doesn't do that anymore.
And that's why he's a sober Johnny.
But I don't want to compare him to Johnny. I think he's a better player fully. But he did prove things about his game. And that's what I want to focus on here, is his game is what we need to focus on when we're talking about him. Because what he did last night was prove that he is the player that people talk about him being. He is a one-track mind at the quarterback position. When he stares down a receiver, he can't look off safeties. He cannot he cannot maneuver around a defense. He looks at his first read. He goes to his first read. And if it's not there, he breaks out of the pocket too early. He has no pocket awareness. But obviously, it's sort of this Jekyll and Hyde effect with the Browns in general. That team, I mean, I don't know what to think at this point. The 49ers are a good team. I believe that. But the Browns will come out one week, beat the Ravens, and then the next week they put up 3 points against the 49ers. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Well, first off, the NFL in general is just weird. I mean, you see weird things. Going back to Sunday, who would have thought that Denver would have beat the Chargers the way they did? But with Baker Mayfield and the Browns, I mean, just listening to Screaming Joe Test and Booger McFarland. I mean, Booger McFarland sounded,
Booger, though.
He sounded like a broken record player when he's talking about Baker Mayfield. Just basically always saying he's not using his eyes. He's not looking off defenders. He's a one-track guy. He's making one read and he's going. I mean, just over. Right. I mean, every single time. And at some point, Baker's got to make adjustments. He's got to learn how to look off a safety. I mean, it's simple things like that. And that actually is a very simple thing that quarterbacks are taught in middle school, is to be able to look off a safety, to kind of use your peripheral, see what's coming out. And he just continues to stare one guy down. And that's why he throws so many interceptions.
Yeah. And not, talking about the antics of Baker, when you look at what he did last night, he's making enemies every step of the way. Nick Bosa is a guy that went to Ohio State. They played against each other. And, of course, Baker did the ceremonial plant the flag in the middle of Ohio State. So very disrespectful.
10 for 10 stars for Nick Bosa for
he did the exact same thing.
I mean, it was perfect down to a T.
I mean, it was beautiful. And he had a quote after the game just talking about how Baker was quiet at that point, because I'll tell you what, Nick Bosa woke up and he knew, okay, I'm going to get after Baker. This is a guy that I've been wanting to get after. He has a target on his back. Nick Bosa had 2 sacks and a forced fumble last night.
Oh, he played out of his mind.
And I have to believe, to a certain extent, it's because he wanted to get after Baker. This is something that was in the back of his mind. Judging by his after-the-game comments, judging by everything like that, I got to believe that there was a big target on Baker's back. And I am not saying that it's a bad thing to put that target on your back, but I will say this. If you're going to do it, you better back it up.
And you don't really need to do anything to make it bigger. I mean, it seems like he's making the target bigger with every game and every antic that he does.
He literally cannot get it right. He needs to just personally, I think he's going to get to a point where he's going to realize he needs to chill out a little bit. He's getting humbled. Let's be real. I mean, he's getting humbled to this point in the season by these 3 losses. And when you look at also last night, Richard Sherman had something to say about
and I think he said it perfectly.
And what he said, he hasn't earned anything in this league. How many games has he won? He said if Pat Mahomes did that, it would be one thing. But he would never do that. And that's
because he respects the game.
Okay, respecting the
game.
Well,
let me ask you, as a former player, somebody comes out there and does the things that he does. You're on the opposing sideline. How do you take it? Do you take that as a disrespect not only to you, but to the game itself?
It's disrespect to me. I'm not really
but not
saying
to the game itself.
I'm not saying it's the game. I think, and that's the thing. I think people take it a step too deep with Baker, and I'll get into this as well. People make it seem as if his off-field antics translate into his poor performance on the field. And I don't really fall into that category. I've never been a guy that if you're going to talk trash, I don't think it's going to affect you on the field. You look what he did with the Ravens. He had Rex Ryan that week. Rex Ryan said, "Oh, he's overrated as hell." Baker comes out, throws for 350 yards, wins a game, scores 40 points. Obviously, a lot of help from Nick Chubb in that game. I get that.
And I think our secondary had a little too much fun on a Saturday night because, good God.
Well, that's what happens when they have Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, Antonio Callaway, all those type of guys. But I think people blow that out of proportion. When you look at Colin Cowherd, he always talks about it. Jeff Schwartz always talks about it. These guys on Twitter always talk about how they think that his off-field antics translate to his on-field performance. And I don't fall into that. But I do think this. If you're going to do it, back it the hell up. It's very simple. If you're going to talk all that, then make sure you're there for it.
And you're ultimately the best example to use on this, being a former college player, somebody that's played a level of football 99.9% of us have never been able to even come close. So when you say that you don't believe that, I get that more than hearing Stephen A. or somebody like that say that. But is there any truth to the disrespecting the game? Like you don't think he has? I mean, Richard Sherman even said it. He doesn't respect the game, so he's a player. So I kind of want to take his side on it. But have you ever had a guy? I mean, regardless of how much crap he talked, just think, man, this guy's not only disrespecting me; he's disrespecting football itself.
No, I have never felt like that.
Not even BYU.
No, I mean, that's sort of the game of football is very shaky. Like, there's going to be times where people talk a lot of crap, and they make it very clear that they are going to do that. Baker, on the other hand, just needs to figure it out. If he's going to talk like this, he needs to back it up. And now, the 49ers in general last night just absolutely owned the Browns defense. When you look at what they did on the ground, it was embarrassing. 40 rushes for 275 yards. That's a 7 yards per carry average. That's you can't win a game that way. And I think the Browns will probably know that. They need to get back to the drawing board as far as that goes.
I think they visited the drawing board last night with all the things they had OBJ doing.
Well, think about what they did at the end of the game. There's no way they visited the drawing board to stop the run because they couldn't stop it at the end of the game. I mean, the Niners essentially salted the game away in that fourth quarter with their running game. And obviously you knew it was going to be like that. The first play from scrimmage, Matt Breida goes 83 yards for a touchdown. And you just sort of knew that this Browns team probably wasn't ready. And obviously the interception on the goal line, Antonio Callaway dropping in a game back. He's been suspended 4 games for PEDs. And he came back. Baker puts one probably right in the breadbasket, honestly. It gives him a good touchdown pass. It bounces up. They return it for 50 yards. But that's just the game of football. The game of football will give you those highs, those lows. You just have to live with them, and I think that team's too young to handle that at this point.
So I think we can both agree that at this point in the season, the Browns are overrated, correct?
Yeah. I think talent-wise, no. I think they have all the talent in the world.
But as far as on-field expectations, as far as winning the AFC North, as far as making a playoff run, as far as one of those weird fans, which I'm a tattoo guy, but I've never understood getting a tattoo of a national championship or a Super Bowl before it even happens. Yeah. I'm not that dumb. But whose fault is it for overrating this Browns team? Is it the media that believed the hype, or is it the Browns themselves for throwing the hype out there? Is it OBJ for all of his comments? Is it Baker Mayfield for what he's done in the offseason and now and comments he's made not between the lines of the football field? Whose fault is it ultimately? Did we buy into them, or did they buy into us?
I think the media overblew them. And I mean, there's
so they fed off of our encouragement.
Obviously, they're going to talk about their team as if it's good, but the media is the one who overblows it. The talent they have, when you look at it, it's incredible. I mean, they should be good. Obviously, Freddie Kitchens, I think personally, he is showing that he's a first-year coach. He is showing that he is not quite ready for this stage in this. I mean, he's not making the right calls. Offensively, they get very stagnant at times. He tries to get Odell Beckham Jr. the ball in very weird ways besides just through the pass game. And when you look at it, I thought it was crazy. This stat absolutely amazed me. He is averaging 20 yards less per game. He's averaging 67 receiving yards per game. That is 20 yards less than he had with Eli Manning. And people want to talk about Eli all the time. People want to say he couldn't feed his guys that were around him. But clearly, he fed them more than what they're doing right now with the Browns with Freddie Kitchens and Baker. So I don't know what to think about Freddie Kitchens at this point. He's going to have to adjust and going to have to be better.
Well, I don't think it's really on Freddie Kitchens. I think what it really comes down to is the difference between Eli Manning and Baker Mayfield. We already talked about how Baker Mayfield is a one-read guy, a stare-down guy. And we know Eli's not that. So where in New York, OBJ might not have been the first option, but he was open as the third option. Now with Baker Mayfield, it's either first option or nothing. So therefore, there's no chance of Eli starting on the right side of the field, looking back at OBJ coming off the left and getting him the ball that way.
I don't know, because Baker breaks that mold sometimes. Baker can play good games, and he can look off safeties, and he comes out with a different attitude at times. But what he did last night against the Niners just proved everyone correct. Again, like I said at the beginning of this segment, I think he can still be a good quarterback in this league. I really do. I think he can be a guy that can look off safeties, that cannot be a one-track thrower. I think he can find a way to be good in this league. But yesterday was not an example of that. And if you're going to talk as much as you do, you have to come out consistently and be the player you talk about.
You really do. And the thing with Baker Mayfield that I feel like we've kind of set him almost set him up to fail at this point. We bought into the hype. We bought into the fact that he was able to come in and somewhat turn around the Browns season last year, actually getting kind of close to a playoffs with the Steelers and the Ravens being about 500, a little bit better. I think we finished the season 9-7 and won the division. So it really wasn't that far-fetched for them to actually be in the playoff situation in the final weeks. And we kind of took that and ran with it. So I think it's partially our fault for setting him up as so high and him getting the popularity that he's gotten so fast. But it's also his fault for not adjusting with the game, for not getting on an NFL level.
But again, I'd like to focus on the on-field stuff. The off-field stuff doesn't translate into what he is. I think a lot of people like to put these quarterbacks and they like to say, oh, well, I want a guy like Tom Brady. He's quiet off the field. He says the right things. No, it doesn't have to be cookie cutter. I never said it had to be cookie cutter. There's been guys in the past. You look at Joe Namath from back in the day. This is a Hall of Famer who went out on Saturday nights before a Sunday game. You had guys back in the day, obviously it's a different day, smoking cigarettes at halftime. There's literally a blueprint. There's not a blueprint. You know what I mean? So, like, I don't like when people try to do that.
But you did just say basically the game's evolved. So haven't we kind of evolved from the, obviously the smoking at halftime, the going out before nights, that type of game, to somewhat of a cookie-cutter quarterback?
No. Attitude-wise, no. I think on the field, production-wise, yes. You have to be a guy who can be multiple in his reading. You have to look off safeties. You have to be right. You have to be correct. You have to take the check down when it's there. But off the field, as far as attitude goes and personality goes, I don't see a full problem with Baker as long as he backs it up. As long as he backs it up at some point during this season. Obviously, next, we're going to have John Luke McCord joining us to talk some SEC and college football. Later in the hour, we will get to some MLB playoffs, I promise, and John Harden will be joining us for a little bit. But this is Johnny Radio's Happy Hour right here on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Search Sports 56 on Facebook and give us a like. And follow us on Twitter at Sports 56 WHBQ.
Upgrade your commute at Acura of Memphis. Seize the thrill and test drive one of our award-winning models. each packed with cutting-edge technology, luxurious amenities, and a driving experience that's sure to awaken your inner self. Driving shouldn't be a chore, it should be an adventure. Advance your drive today. Shop our aggressive lease and finance options now. Luxury is waiting at Acura Memphis, or shop online 24/7. Visit AcuraofMemphis.com.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar, your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
Looking for great seafood? Head to the Half Shell, voted Memphis's favorite seafood 5 years in a row. Enjoy delicious seafood at the Half Shell for lunch and dinner, along with the Half Shell's extensive new wine list. Or relax at the bar, open daily until 3 a.m. For a great weekend, try Saturday and Sunday brunch at the Half Shell from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. The Half Shell, always Memphis's favorite. Available for private parties, catering, and daily box lunch delivery. The Half Shell, serving full food menu till 2 a.m. daily. 2 locations on Mendenhall and on Winchester.
Human beings have been shaving for over 5,000 years. That's why Harry's doesn't add gimmicky features to their razors. They focus on the qualities that actually matter for a close, comfortable shave, and they never upcharge you. I've been shaving with Harry's all this year, and I love the clean, close shave I get, the easy glide, and I love the low price. Harry's is a return to the essential, quality, durable blades at a fair price, just $2 per blade. To keep prices low, they cut out the middleman. Harry's has an amazing offer for listeners of this radio station. New customers get $5 off a trial set from Harry's with code STATS at harrys.com. That means you can get a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, foaming shave gel, and travel cover, all for just $3 plus free shipping when you use code STATS at harrys.com. Go to harrys.com today, use code STATS at checkout to claim your offer. When I shave with Harry's. Offer code STATS at harrys.com.
I love fall. The landscape is so beautiful at Town Village Audubon Park. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $2,300. Gourmet Chef Drew invites you to visit our restaurant and bistro. Package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, daily check-in, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now back to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour.
Get over here!
This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
What is up? We're back. Obviously, we have a sub-mixologist. I'm Gabe Kuhn, normally produce this show.
Can we call ourselves mixologists? Are we
We're subs. We're subs.
Are we barbacks that sub when the bartenders are too drunk or don't show up?
You have to be the mixologist. You know what I mean? If we're the barback while he's the mixologist, when he's out, we get a promotion somewhat, right?
I guess.
But anyway, I'm joined here by Drew Barrett. And obviously, per always on Tuesday, we are joined by John Luke McCord. John Luke is part of the D Journal Now on Twitter at JL Grindin. He also writes for College Football Hourglass. This is my SEC plug. If I want to know SEC football, this is my guy. John Luke, what is happening?
Man, so glad to be joining you guys today, and glad to get some more questions from you today, Dave. John usually only lets you get one or two in, so I'm ready to see what you're wanting to talk about a little more today. Certainly, we miss Johnny, and prayers out to him and the family and everything.
Yeah. We're making sure that John will send him well wishes. He's having some problems with family, but yeah, man, I'm glad to get to talk to you. My SEC plug, I'm telling you, like this is the guy I come to when I need some information about the SEC. But I have to ask right off top, what the hell did you think Florida was going to be able to absolutely just sort of stifle Bo Nix and that Auburn offense? That was some of the most embarrassing football I've seen out of Bo Nix this entire season.
No doubt. Look, I think we can all empathize with Gus Malzahn's reaction to that throw on the sort of the slant down in the red zone that he missed late in that game. And I haven't seen if that's a GIF or anything yet, but it should be, because that's sort of the emotion we'll all have thinking back to that game. And I did not think he could do it. But look, we're talking about a Florida team dating back to last year that's won 10 straight. Dan Mullen. We've talked a lot about him on this show and his savvy and his brilliance as a head coach. And look, Felipe Franks and Kyle Trask have been the starting quarterbacks in that 10-game winning streak. So look, I know Dan Mullen has some guys leaving the program before the season, things like that from this most recent recruiting class. They're going to have to fix that, because that will show up in 2 or 3 years. But look, Dan Mullen has shown he can make it work. He waited his chance to get to that program, and I think he's going to continue to win big games like he did there. I don't think they will this weekend, but look, he's still got Georgia on the schedule down the road to try to get a big one. I don't think he gets that one either, but Dan Mullen has really outshot what we thought he would, and especially when he made the move to Kyle Trask, he's done better. We didn't think he'd be able to get one of those games like that.
I mean, personally, I think Kyle Trask sort of masterfully managed that game, a 24-13 win. I was pretty impressed by what he did. He didn't turn the ball over, and he sort of set that team up for some success. But I know I've talked to you earlier in the year about what I asked you if Florida was a top 10 team, and you have told me sort of ad nauseum that you don't really think so. Did they change your mind this weekend, or do you think this was more of on Auburn's and not being able to get it done?
I definitely think Auburn's the better team there, and they had the matchup in their favor. Certainly the young quarterback was the one thing. And you got to give credit to Todd Grantham, too, for going after him like he did. I thought the secondary was really, really good for Florida. I liked him there. But the front seven showed up and played well, and Todd Grantham's a big part of that. Some weeks, Todd Grantham's very aggressive style really just it fits to a T. And sometimes it's a little off, but this past week it was just spot on. And so certainly they pressured a young quarterback the way they needed to win. I think for right now, yeah, you win a big game like that, you're a top 10 team. At the end of the year, though, we're going to have to look at a team that probably has losses to LSU and Georgia, potentially a loss to Missouri down the way. And is that a top 10 team? I think they certainly are playing like a top 10 team right now. I don't know where they'll be finished product-wise, but they're playing like one right now, no doubt.
And you sort of prefaced this just a second ago, but we have Florida, number 7, traveling to number 5 LSU, playing in Death Valley. Do you see there being any chance for Florida to be able to pull one out on the road?
I definitely think there's a chance because, again, that secondary is good enough to go get the ball. And so if they could go get the ball 3 or 3+ times. Maybe you get one on the ground too. But if they can create a lot of turnovers in this game and sort of give Joe Burrow a different look, certainly. But I think that's a really outside shot. The offense is probably going to have to play keep up a little bit in this game, and I don't think that's something they're prepared to do against an LSU team that's got a solid defense that can go get the football as well. So, I think that Joe Burrow and company outscore Florida, even if they're playing well, even if they're having a good day. I just think Joe Burrow's not a guy that's going to miss those throws that we saw the freshman quarterback last week missing.
John Luke, and to kind of switch from the best that the SEC has to offer in LSU and Florida right now, obviously both being 5-0 and undefeated, to switch to the bottom half of the conference. We saw Vandy lose pretty badly against Ole Miss at homecoming last week, 31-6. We saw Tennessee get blown out at home against Georgia. When those two teams play at the end of the season, are we going to be looking at if they're both actually still there? Are we looking at the winner keeps its job between Jeremy Pruitt and Derek Mason?
Ooh, potentially. I think it potentially so. I mean, I think Derek Mason couldn't even survive this season with a win there. I really don't. This certainly feels like a farewell tour for Derek Mason. Listen, Ole Miss threw for 99 yards last week. They had a quarterback basically run the ball, and he was effective in the first quarter, and they really they kind of solved the quarterback, and then Ole Miss continued to run the football, used the backs more as the game went on. But that's just a team last week. Derek Mason is a great game planner. He's great during the week, and when you go out there and you see execution like that, you realize just how poor the talent is on that roster and where he's sort of at personnel-wise. And personnel is the key there. So I think it's certainly going to have to be a new face, new energy, new identity around that Vanderbilt program going forward, and that's as early as this offseason. With Tennessee, potentially, I don't – tell me what Jeremy Pruitt does leading up to that game, because I don't think a Vanderbilt win is sort of an exclamation by any means. If Jeremy Pruitt's able to go get a win this weekend, which, look, I think he's got a shot to do, then you'd start to talk about a guy that submits himself going forward. I think it just depends on where Tennessee wants to sit with a mistake. I think it's with a mistake to hire Jeremy Pruitt. I think it potentially could be a mistake to keep him longer, too, either way.
But with where that program is, and you look at the guys like the Jeremy Bankses, the Bryce Thompsons, just how that program is being managed, like, I don't understand. Do you think that there's obviously the last coaching search was no one was lining up at the door. Do you think that they would go away from Jeremy Pruitt within by the end of this year, or do you think they'd give him a whole other year to sort of get what he has going into motion?
Look, I think that something might have to change above Pruitt potentially as well if things were going to shake up that soon. My guess is that, look, Phil Fulmer came into that search late and kind of finished it. And so that is kind of still his guy. I think Phil Fulmer realizes what was going on in that search, and I think he wants to stick with the guy he picked there at the end, even if he thought he could go get a better coach somewhere across the country. I think that's a move to be determined later. I think you definitely want to keep Jeremy Pruitt, but look, you're right. It's the management of the program. It's the reaction to the Jeremy Banks incident that really started to make it seem like, wow, is this a guy that can keep his hands around a program in the ways that you have to away from the field, much less trying to get an edge on the field, trying to get an edge in recruiting in the tough SEC. So, look, one thing I would say is the recruiting has to ramp up and have a little bit of energy about it. I know we laugh about Butch Jones. He's certainly become the punchline of a joke. But, listen, that was a guy that was able to come in and generate energy in recruiting. I think that old dust, that old magic still lives around that program. The state of North Carolina is so much better to recruit. They're right there close to Charlotte. The state of Tennessee has improved. Nashville is bursting at the seams. They're able to come get kids from Memphis they want to get ahead of Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and even LSU at times and others. So, look, I think that recruiting dust is still ready to be ignited. I don't know that Jeremy Pruitt has done as well as I thought he might in that aspect. So look, much less some of the things that he's done on the field this year, and some of the things he's done off the field. But he's got a freshman quarterback that could potentially continue to give him and his fan base some hope.
And I'm glad you brought up hope for the fan base, because that's one thing I want to ask you about. Since Philip Fulmer left this program over a decade ago, now being back, as the athletic director, it really hasn't been that much hope, too high of expectations. If Jeremy Pruitt can't turn it around and they ultimately do have to go get another guy, does that take all the hope out of the program, and Tennessee fans kind of have to look in the mirror and say, well, I guess this is who we are, and quit saying it feels like 98?
Well, I think, look, I know you're specifically referring to the football program, but look, Rick Barnes might not win as big as he has in the last couple of years this basketball season too. So how does Philip Fulmer sort of hold on to all of that might start to come a little bit loose too? I mean, that's a good program. Rick Barnes has obviously proven he's a great coach and re-energized there, but that's something they're not used to. They've won recent. And so look, with the football program though, certainly it would take some of the hope, it would take some of the spark away, and I think it would immediately, look, just being around Oxford, being around Ole Miss fans and how they've reacted, it's going to remind a lot of people of a massively failed search in a lot of ways that just occurred recently for a head football coach. And so I think Philip Fulmer would certainly have a little bit more credit with the fan base to be able to go into that search. And if some names start to emerge that sound good, they could certainly get behind it. But it's going to immediately, I think, take people back to where they were in the 10, 12, whatever it was, nose they got leading up to Jeremy Pruitt. But look, there are a lot of good coaches across the country, and I think that's what this Tennessee program is really lacking, is some solid decision-making. And sometimes you got to string good decisions together. And so do they think the leadership there in place can do that now? It's yet to be seen. I can't comment directly to my confidence on that necessarily, but that's what it's going to take. I still think that Tennessee program big enough, strong enough, that a couple of good decisions in a row, unlike an Ole Miss program who not just a couple of good decisions away, they have to have a lot of things fall into place. That Tennessee program, it's not the same way. I think make a few good decisions on your end, and you can start to turn things around in a shorter period than most programs, yes.
John Luke, I think this Ole Miss Vandy game this past weekend was probably the most bizarre game I have watched in the year. Like, I don't really understand how Ole Miss pulled out a 31-6 victory. Obviously, Vandy's futility in that game had to do with that. But you look at John Rice Plumlee, you look at his, I'm not going to say inability. I don't think he's had the most chances to prove that he's a good passer. But when you look at his passing, like, is he a guy going forward that's going to take over the helm here and be that starter for sure? Like, is Matt Corral out of the question at this point?
Look, and that's a good question. I mentioned last time I was on the show, look, John Rice Plumlee I thought was the guy. And now for 2 weeks, the coaching staff has said, look, Matt Corral's this, Matt Corral's that. They certainly were leaning towards not playing him, even in their comments to the media during that Alabama week. What was the point? But we thought we'd get a look at both of the freshman quarterbacks. We get, 2 or 3 series from Grant Tisdale at the end. They basically stick with John Rice Plumlee the entirety of that game. And then we come in again to this week, another opportunity that, hey, they're telling us Matt Corral might be more on the edge of playing this week. So it's a little bit surprising that he didn't end up playing. But not only, again, did they have an opportunity during you watched, I'm sure, that third quarter, close your eyes on the other three. Watch the third quarter. You see a team that's just stalling out and having some trouble. And so, why we haven't seen the other freshman quarterback really is what says to me that this coaching staff must have some major confidence in John Rice Plumlee, or they're not telling us enough about Matt Corral's injury, and they're really setting up Plumlee to have a running package going forward when Corral does come back, because they've made it clear. They don't want John Rice Plumlee throwing the football too often. They want him running the football. And you could see his speed and his ability to make guys miss.
22 carries for 165 yards. And the kid, he can run. By God, he can run. They're limiting the carries for those other guys. They're limiting the carries for Ely and for the starter, Scotty Phillips. And people are asking questions about that. My answer to that is, hey, he's been your best ball carrier. Let him keep running. But you have to wince every time you see him go into the knees head first of a linebacker or a defensive lineman and get swallowed up by guys much bigger than him. Not the biggest
thinking,
guy.
This has got to be our quarterback going forward. Well, he can't run like that.
Switching over to another team in the SEC West, Texas A&M currently ranked 24, which in first place, I don't understand how, sitting at 3-2 and barely squeaking by a bad Arkansas team last week. This week against Alabama, are they even going to be able to put up the 31 points that Ole Miss did 2 weeks ago? Because watching that A&M Arkansas game, I saw Ole Miss play personally better than that.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna put up 31 against Alabama this week. I certainly think they can get some going. I'm not sure that Alabama defense has all the answers right now. So if you told me they let a few go and make some adjustments, I could see that. But look, I think Ole Miss just had an aspect that Alabama wasn't really expecting them to come in with. I mean, we just talked about John Rice Plumlee. He's a legit guy, a legit high 4.3s, low 4.4s runner. I mean, he has legit speed, and Texas A&M is not going to have a guy that can come in there and be that effective throughout the game. I think Alabama, like I said, even if they budge a little bit early, I think they can make some adjustments, hold that team. They certainly won't get 31. I don't think A&M will. Maybe more like 21. So I don't think so. I think this A&M team, you kind of mentioned it, they are where they are right now, but I don't feel a lot of confidence going forward for that team with some of the better teams on their schedule still left.
He is John Luke McCord at JL Grindin on Twitter. Always a pleasure, man. Thanks, John Luke, for joining us.
Appreciate you guys. Y'all have a good week.
John Luke McCord right there. Obviously, when we come back, we got some serious MLB playoffs to talk about. John Harden, the normal host of this show, Johnny Radio, will be joining us at 2. And we'll be right back, right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through the midday with Sports 56 Middays. Delivered by FedEx. Weekdays from 10 till 1 on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender.
Bartlett Small Engine has been serving quality power equipment since 1970. They have a full line of power equipment, parts, and services for most makes and models. Bartlett Small Engines has the best brands in the power tool industry: Honda mowers, trimmers, and generators, Steel blowers, trimmers, and chainsaws, Echo trimmers, blowers, and chainsaws, plus quality products from Red Mat and Shindawa. And they're all American made. Bartlett Small Engine is your can-do store. 6780 Summer Avenue. Call 901-386-9779.
Geico presents Monster Counseling.
Dracula, tell me how you're feeling.
No one understands how lonely it is. No one will even let me into their house. I knock and I knock, but they ignore me.
Uh-huh. What else?
I look in the mirror and I don't even see myself anymore.
If you don't see yourself clearly, can you really expect others to?
I'm having a breakthrough.
It's not easy to be a vampire, but with Geico, it's super easy to switch and save hundreds on your car insurance.
Sundays and Mondays are special at the Butcher Shop, celebrating over 35 years of serving the Mid-South by giving a big thank you to you, their loyal customers. You can come in, relax, watch your favorite games, and enjoy hand-cut steaks along with a premium bar. Sunday and Monday nights from 5 until 8:30, you can get select entrees for $25. That includes a salad, baked potato, and bread, and you don't have to pick one, you get all three. Some of those entrees are 10-ounce New York strip steak, slow-roasted prime rib, Atlantic salmon with dill sauce, marinated grilled chicken breast, grilled boneless pork chops, and crab stuffed shrimp. Plus, all appetizers and desserts are 20% off. Don't forget, Hamburger Friday every Friday from 11 to 2. It's the best. The Butcher Shop, always a Memphis tradition. Call 901-757-4244, 901-757-4244 for more information, or just stop in at 107 South Germantown Parkway in Cordova.
Hey fellas, Bill Russell here at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers, and I want you to think about something for just a second. When was the last time you totally surprised your wife or your girlfriend with something nice for no reason at all? Not a birthday, not an anniversary, for no reason other than to show her how much you care about her. For almost 35 years, I've been helping Memphis men show their ladies the deep appreciation that they have for them and how grateful they are to have those girls in their lives. Birthdays and other occasions, well, gifts are expected, but a lot of times the unexpected presents, given for no reason other than love, have the most impact and say the most to her. Those gifts say you care all the time, every day. At Russell Brothers Jewelers, we've been helping men say I love you for a long time. The size or the price of the gift most times is of little importance. It's the thought you put into it that will make her smile. Come see me, Bill Russell, at Russell Brothers Fine Jewelers. Let me help you find just the right thing, large or small, that will let her know how you feel.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
Now back to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour.
Kick it over here.
This hour is brought to you by MemphisFarmers.com. Insurance coverage backed by a local agent and a brand trusted nationwide. We are farmers. MemphisFarmers.com.
Thick and thin, I'm your pusher man. I'm your pusher man.
I guess I'm your pusher, man. I'm not, I don't have the energy John has on this rejoin, but I am here in the Family Leisure studio. Obviously, Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40. But I'm hanging here with Drew Barrett. I am Gabe Kuhn. I'm your sub-mixologist. I do my best. Just got off the phone with John Luke McCord. That was a great conversation. Got some SEC college football sort of squared away. Obviously, at the top of the hour here at 2, we're going to talk to John himself, Johnny Radio. Get into some MLB playoffs. But before then, me and Drew are going to try to break down a couple of these matchups in this honestly loaded, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, a loaded slate of college football this weekend. You have Alabama, number 1 in the nation, at Texas A&M, going to College Station to handle some business there. They open up as 17-point favorites. Where are we at there, Drew? I got to know. You think they cover the 17 is more what I'm asking. I don't think no. A&M is anywhere near
Alabama definitely
ready
gets there
to go
17
in
plus. I mean,
you think so?
Yeah, I mean, it could probably be 25 at this point, and I'd still take it. Because just like John Luke says, I don't think that they're going to put up the same amount of numbers as Ole Miss did. I don't know what's happened to Kellen Mond this year. I mean, last year I thought he showed a lot of potential under first-year coach at A&M. Obviously not first-year head coach, but first year at A&M, Jimbo Fisher. I thought he showed a lot more potential, and I know it's only one game out of the 5 that they played, but that Arkansas game, man, and we know how bad Arkansas is. I mean, yes, were they the plucky little hogs that Saturday? Did they show a little something? Yes, but I think it says more about how not good or bad A&M is.
I think coming into the year, A&M was one of those teams where you thought Kellen Mond was going to be the difference maker. You thought that offense was going to be the difference maker, and I just don't think that's the case. I think their defense isn't close to ready to go against the caliber of player that Alabama's going to offer. And I think 17 points ought to be easy, but
with Kellen Mond and just A&M in general, I mean, who was the last good quarterback at A&M besides Johnny Manziel? It's been a rotating door for some reason, but between Jimbo,
and the thing is, they had so many guys under Kevin Sumlin that were so good, but they had to transfer out because Kevin Sumlin couldn't feed them.
Like what is it about A&M that they just for some reason can't get the most important position on the field?
They recruit well. They consistently
do
recruit well, and they just for whatever reason, I don't know if it's coaching or whatever it may be, they just cannot figure out how to get those guys in a position to succeed. Besides Johnny Manziel, that's the only one that they've ever really had in recent history that has succeeded.
Before we move on to another matchup, did you see the video Chris Fowler posted on his Instagram of him, the Bear, and Herbie talking about Kyle Stadium?
What do we?
Oh, they just win. If you haven't seen it, please go to Chris Fowler's Instagram page, and probably any sports page is probably reposted at this point. They rip Kyle Field a new one, saying, yes, does it seat over 100,000? Yeah. Is it a good atmosphere? Yes.
Yeah.
But what's A&M's record at home? And you can hear the bear from the back seat going, 0-282.
Ooh.
Like, I mean, they ripped A&M and Kyle Field to do it. It's practically,
That's interesting,
unless you're an
though.
A&M fan, it's pretty funny.
But that's an interesting thing because you always talk
And
about
Herbie's got a solo cup in his hand, so he's feeling a little.
That's
loose.
a weird storyline, given that how much they put behind that 12th man at Kyle Field. It's very weird. But now, also,
well, if you've ever seen A&M play, I mean, the pageantry of it. Watching A&M
awesome.
play in the Liberty Bowl a couple years ago. I mean, the pageantry of the male cheerleaders only, the fan base. I mean, it is magical. It is great, but it just doesn't. It doesn't translate.
They don't win there. But I mean, besides this Florida LSU matchup, the Red River rivalry is here this weekend. Oklahoma at Texas. Oklahoma's in at number 6. Texas is 11th in the country. And also the horns down thing.
Yeah.
Why
I think it's over.
Is this a big
it's blown
deal?
out.
Why is this I like it, honestly. Like, I have no problem with it. If they want to score a touchdown and throw the horns down, like, why are we stopping them, really?
I mean, if Texas is allowed to score a touchdown and throw horns up,
yeah, why
can't we do something like it's not a?
Why do we need a flag? What's the penalty
it's
for?
not offensive. I mean, we're not giving people the birds.
Not.
I mean, it's part of college football. It's a part of the rivalry. And when you're a school like Texas and you act the way that Texas does with the Longhorns network, with not wanting a Big 12 network, with not wanting to share the pot around, when you want to be the big dog, you can't really get offended when you get taunted by everybody else. And you just have to take your lumps. And I think it's just been blown way too far out of proportion. And I think most people do it out of love and just good humor than out of spite.
I think it brings a added sort of layer to that rivalry to when you play Texas. Like, Texas is a flashy school. Texas is so rich in their history. They're so rich in general that, like, when you go beat them, I don't see why you can't taunt a little bit. I'm not saying you're absolutely going after them and just giving them heck the whole time, but I don't see why horns down's a problem. But
I don't either, and especially you remember probably the most famous horns down of last year was Will Greer scoring the touchdown in final seconds, just going at it right there. I mean, it's just part of college football.
It adds to the pageantry.
It does. I do too.
I like it. But when you look at this matchup in general, I wonder if Oklahoma's defense can hold up. Obviously, Texas has the better defense when you look at both sides. I think Sam Ehlinger's a good player, but Jalen Hurts, you can't avoid the elephant in the room. This guy is absolutely insane. He's out there to kill every team he plays. He is putting up Heisman numbers. He's the front runner as it stands right now. And going to Texas to win, when you look at last year's game during the season, I know it was Kyler Murray. I know it was a different team. They couldn't handle them. Obviously, they came back later in the Big 12 championship and handled it. They figured it out, and that's the reason they were in the college football playoff. But I look at this Oklahoma team, and they have a lot of proving to do, as well as this Texas team. This Texas team did play a good game against LSU, though.
But they came up short, ultimately.
Of course, ultimately.
And
yeah.
I think OU is going to be locked in this week. I think if you watched any bit of the Kansas game last week, you saw a lot of penalties on the Sooners, a lot of boneheaded plays, and it's you've played at Kansas, you've played in Lawrence. Is it hard to stay focused?
No, absolutely not.
I mean, it's got to. I mean, there's nothing really to stay focused on because you know you're going to win.
The
so
stands
you
empty
can
by the
lackluster.
second quarter. Obviously, they didn't last week, as it was probably it was a close game up until halftime, and they took off. They absolutely took off. But this game is one of the more intriguing matchups when you look at this slate of college football, and I am very, very excited to see it. It always brings some drama. The Red River rivalry is always one to watch. It'll be on Fox. But when we come back, Johnny Radio will be joining us. MLB playoffs. We're going to get all of that info right here on Sports 56, 96.1 and 87.7.
If you've always thought, hey, I'd look pretty good in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus thinks so too. Lexus is offering you the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2019 models and special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2019 flagship LS500. Hey, you look pretty good there. Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event at Lexus of Memphis. Experience amazing.
It's almost Halloween. Goblins and their parents will soon be at your door. To make your house the best stop on the block, start at the Home Depot for a selection so good, it's scary. Like animated skeletons, cackling witches, pirates, and more. You can see them now at a store near you. Or if you can't scare up the time, get free delivery on Halloween decor. This year, Halloween lives at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on online eligible products only. Restrictions apply while supplies last. U.S. only.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for football grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
Need physical therapy but don't know where to go? Tried physical therapy but had a bad experience? Grab your physician's referral and head to Revolution Physical Therapy at the corner of Goodman and Getwell. At Revolution PT, you'll get one-on-one, hands-on therapy. Better and more thorough than just going to the gym. Revolution is locally owned and staffed by neighbors who care about your maximum recovery. And they accept all major insurances. Certified in dry needling, expert in myofascial release. Always relaxed and friendly. Revolution Physical Therapy is just what you need.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM, 96.1, and 87.7 FM, as well as online around the world at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere on your phone or tablet by downloading the Sports 56 app, and at home, tell Alexa or Google to play Sports 56. If it's happening in the world of sports, we've got it covered. Wherever you are, stay tuned to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7. We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, WIVG-FM Tunica Memphis, and WPG-FLP Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. This hour is brought to you by your CBD store, your one-stop for all your natural, organic, and non-GMO CBD products, where good health hits home.
Check it out right here. Ladies and gentlemen. And now,
a man that eats meat so rare, he only eats unicorns. Johnny Harden.
What's up? What's up? What's up? I tried to give it an effort. John's joining us.
Do you want me to show you how it's done?
No. I don't know if you're the guy that can show me how it's done. I think we lost John, actually, on the phone line. But we're going to get him back up here in a second. Obviously, we're going to talk some MLB playoffs, and I am excited. My Cardinals handled their business last night, obviously, in pure Cardinal fashion. I couldn't have asked for it any better. Yadier Molina absolutely coming through in the clutch when it mattered. 2 RBIs. He got the game-tying RBI and the game-winning RBI. We only have one team that's been knocked out of the playoffs to this point. That is the Twins. And the Twins' futility is absolutely, positively insane. John, how bad has this Twins run of 15 straight playoff losses been? And 9 straight to the Yankees.
Because I've always been told you ride a horse until it's dead. So I've been betting against the Twins in the postseason for years now. I'm loving that money, baby.
But that's horrible. I mean, like I obviously I saw this statistic this morning, but 9 in a row to the Yankees, 15 in a row. It's an MLB record. I feel sorry for him. I really, really do.
It was sad, and it really was, but it was so Twins-esque.
Yeah,
I mean, how many times did you see any of it? Because I was going to tell you, if you watched it, they had more guys left in scoring position and could not get ever that just big hit to bust anything open. And the Yankees were keeping them inning. I mean, they hit like that one, Torres hit that solo shot.
That lineup is just...
And, Gardner does his thing. But what I'm just saying is when you look at those Twins right now, nobody can come through and do jack except for one single home run by Rosario, nothing else. Nada. Twins.
Yeah, and then we talked about it before the series started. They led the league in home runs, but the Yankees seem to be hitting their stride at a really, really, really good time. They are 3 games, and they're going to get this rest now. Is this a team going forward that probably could challenge, say, the Astros if the Astros get through tonight?
Well, it's interesting because they're definitely, after watching this, they're going to give the Astros a challenge whether the Astros close it out tonight with Verlander pitching on short wet rest, which I still think they do close it out against Tampa Bay in Game 4. Zach Greinke went Zach Greinke. I mean, he should play for the Twins in the postseason. Zach Greinke's awful in the postseason. But anyway, I'll talk about more later. But if Houston does win and they still can, set up where Garrett Cole has Game 1, they get Verlander for 2, and then they go back to Greinke in Game 3, and they can still set their lineup. We've seen that the Yankees, it doesn't matter against whoever this team plays, they play great offense. I mean, they got the Murderer's Row of 2019.
Yes.
And then after they had Murderer's Row, they went out and spent money and brought in Edwin Encarnacion.
Yep.
And then Luis Severino. Oh, and then Severino now is back, and he looks like an ace. I mean, he looked great last night. So the Yanks have like this boost to them, and right now, Astros just need to close it out.
Yeah, and speaking of which, Edwin Encarnacion during the season, I mean, he got hurt a little bit, I know, but he did not really perform up to what they thought he was going to be. But in the playoffs so far, he has been hot and been doing pretty well. But when you look at this Rays-Astros game tonight, Justin Verlander going for the Astros, Diego Castillo for the Rays, is there any glimpse of hope at all that the Rays can even compete in this game? Obviously, Justin Verlander in the postseason has so much experience. Diego Castillo has pitched only 3 2/3 innings ever in the postseason. Is there even a glimmer of hope?
There is, because Justin's doing something that he's never done. He's pitching on 3 games, 3 days rest, 3 games, 3 days rest. So maybe he comes out and he's not the Justin Verlander who only gave up 1 hit when he faced him in Game 1. But I will tell you, though, the thing that's interesting is this series should be over if I'm not AJ Hinch, you can't blame him, he's the manager, but if the front office if they would out and would have signed Charlie Morton, they actually would have saved money, because Zach Greinke cost a butt ton of money.
And he's bad in the playoffs.
Morton. And guess what? Charlie Morton closed out the World Series in 2017, and now he's pitching for the dead-gum Tampa Bay Rays. And you can prove that Charlie Morton is a big-game pitcher. He just beat your team, but you couldn't spend a little money last night. You couldn't match the Rays' offer. If you would have matched the Rays' offer, Morton would be in Houston. Houston would already have closed out the series, because without Charlie Morton, hey, the Rays aren't even here.
So do you think last night, though, realistically, do you think it was sort of the Rays' sort of last-ditch sort of effort? Like, because, 10 runs?
Dude, they just busted up a guy who stinks in the postseason, and Zach Greinke, and tonight they're going to face the guy in Justin Verlander. And yes, it's on 3 days rest, but I also feel like not only is Justin Verlander going to show up, but Springer was over 5. That's not going to happen. Brantley was over 4. Carlos Correa came in and was over 4. You're not going to see these guys go a bunch of overs. I feel like the Rays are going to get their bat, like it's going to be a complete reversal. I see 10 runs for the Astros, maybe 2 runs by the Rays, no more.
And the Rays don't really have a lineup that's going to wow you, especially if you're Justin Verlander. They're not going to hit a bunch of bombs, but they're all right. They're all right. But
realistically, Fan and Meadows most people don't even know. I mean, it's kind of sad. I mean, people know Travis d'Arnaud when he played for New York. People might, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of
people
guys.
like Kevin Kiermaier because he's been there forever.
I mean, there's a lot of guys in the playoffs now that I think the Cardinals wish they would have kept their hands on, realistically.
Ooh. Well, I'll ask you, as a Cardinals fan, did you go absolutely bananas?
Oh, of course. Typical Cardinals, bringing you down to the last ditch and just sort of giving you enough. Giving you enough.
Heart out.
Well, I mean, it was awesome. I couldn't ask for more. I mean, that's what I expect. And it's on the other side, the Braves. Like, if you're a Braves fan, you have to feel like this was going to happen. Like, this is just typical Braves.
You're a Braves fan. Do you want to know what Braves fans are feeling like?
What?
Oh my God, the series is over. We just lost it because now we have.
So
to
you
face,
think? What do you think about my?
You think Fulton
No. But listen,
in him in this series?
He pitched incredibly in that first game. I mean,
and that's what. Have you ever heard that they have that saying, "The sun shines on the dog," something every once in a while or something? That was what happened with Mike Fulton in that game.
So you think Jack Flaherty closes this thing out tonight?
I think the Cardinals. The fact that they got him, Molina's fired up. I hate to say it because the Braves season was awesome. I love Freeman. I love Acuna. I love Josh Donaldson.
Good, but
you see where I tweet out that picture, and he looks like the American Eagle.
The thing is, before this series, you look at that lineup and you don't think the Cardinals have a chance in hell. But when you look at Freddie Freeman in this series, he's awful. Josh Donaldson hasn't been much. Acuna has been great.
Dexter Fowler hadn't done.
He's been awesome. And speaking of Paul Goldschmidt has been insane, and same with Marcell Ozuna.
He's by the way, he's batting 420.
And Ozuna is hitting out of his mind as well. It's like the timing of it is so Cardinals. It is so Cardinals and so Braves. Both sides have got to be feeling this is so typical.
It really was, and the cool thing yesterday, like Goldie hitting that bomb and then doing it, backing it up, and then all of a sudden, then you have a little situation where St. Louis is looking pretty, but like you said, they go St. Louis, they give up the dead gum lead. I mean, I'm sitting there going, hold on, it's 4-3 in the fifth inning, wasn't it? Wait, was it not 3-1 just a minute ago after Ozuna hit a home run?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, you're sitting there, and the Braves have the lead, and that's where I thought, okay, you got to close it out. And I was saying this to somebody the other day. I said, if they don't close it out, they'll lose Game 5 at home. And the reason is, remember when they played the Cardinals, the infield fly rule game? They don't feel good at home for some reason. And it's just like Dallas Keuchel. They go with him on short rest. And like I said, you're going with Mike against the best pitcher for the Cardinals. And realistically, one of the top 5 pitchers since the All-Star break in baseball.
Can I ask you a question though, seriously, about what the Braves did last night? And maybe I'm not as experienced with managerial sort of decisions, but what was going on with the Braves and Brian Snitker taking out Josh Tomlin at that time? He went 1 1/3, and he couldn't get. No one was touching him.
I still don't know. The dude goes out there and throws 7 strikes. Sits down. I mean, he looked unbelievable, and then he goes to green, and then the worst part is I don't understand why he went to, Julio burns down more houses.
Well, I mean, at that point,
on the road.
At that point, they were getting thin, right? I mean, correct me if
they
I'm wrong.
were, but but it's also kind of because it was almost his making, and I know Dallas, getting just 3 1/3 innings didn't help, but again, that was also Brian Snitker's making because he pitches him on short rest. I thought that was a mistake. I thought you would rather have Dallas in case there was an emergency. You have him in a Game 5. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think the whole situation. I hate to say it.
You think Snitker
has done a great job all year, but Game 1 was that OS moment. Mm-hmm. Game 2 and 3, he's like, "Woo, I'm going to make it." Game 4 was another OS.
He's like, "Oh no!"
And I think Game 5. They're going to really wake up and realize they landed all in it when Yadi Molina hit that sac fly in the bottom of the 10th. And by the way,
he was fired
people
up.
Get off the whole throat. Like people, Twitter, I can't stand that damn thing.
Wait, they were getting mad about the throat slash?
Yeah, dude. And then they're trying to say that.
That's
and then
fake.
The Cardinals fans were coming back and showing Ozzie Albies catching a ball and doing it in his chest area. And they're trying to make some story. dude, it's emotion. It's the playoffs. It's baseball.
I'm tired of unwritten rules. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the unwritten rules.
Can we just watch a little baseball?
Let's have a little fun.
And not make up BS. Thank you. Yeah, because the baseball on the field is awesome.
Johnny, I got a question for you. Obviously, I guess he came through yesterday, but why the heck is Mike Shildt still trusting Carlos Martinez to go out there game in and game out? I mean, other than yesterday, I mean, he two on the bases. He had 2 in scoring position before he got the third out. I mean, come on.
This entire series.
I know that there was a moment like that 16-pitch sequence that Gabe probably was freaking out and thought for sure they would lose the game.
I mean, when he came in, I'm holding my breath. I'm like, oh, no.
By the way, though, that was really dope. I thought that was a really good move. I don't know why he believes in Martinez, but you also have to look. I hate to say this, no offense to Cardinal fan out there. Look at your bullpen.
Yeah, that is very true, and that's what I was going to tell you. Like, they don't have anything.
I mean, that can't be the best option.
Beginning closer, and now who it is at the end of the year. Look what Andrew Miller has become. Look what Martinez is. I mean, honestly, it's the most patchwork bullpen left in the playoffs, and it's not even close. And I thought the Braves bullpen stunk.
Mike Shildt pointed to that Carlos Martinez. I'm glad Drew brought this up. He pointed to the Carlos Martinez thing, and he said, I actually would trust him more after a day where he pitched. Like 2 days in a row, he said he would trust him more. He thinks he would have more command that day. Well, you used to be. I mean, you still do some pitching to this day. Like, is that a thing, or is that just sort of
that's a thing.
Coach speak?
Sometimes when that's actually a thing, man. I've had played with guys. I know guys who when they were at their best physically, peak performance, they would tend to overthrow. They wouldn't pitch. They would be a thrower instead of a pitcher. Sometimes, and I'm being dead serious, there's so many guys right now sitting at home or driving around right now who are listening to this, and the days that maybe they had a no-hitter or a one-hitter or a shutout, they didn't have their best stuff, but they might have had their best game pitching because they went out there and actually located the ball.
Yeah, command. They had more command.
Yeah, they had more command that day because instead of thinking, hey, I'm going to go out here and blow everything by anybody. And by the way, when you're feeling good and you're missing, there's not an excuse. When you're not feeling great, you just move on to the next pitch and say, okay, I'm going to focus on this next pitch. And sometimes just focusing on the next pitch, that's what I try to tell the young kids, just focus on the next pitch. It's going to get you through the game.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking it was an interesting thought. The day before, Carlos Martinez looked lost. I mean, he couldn't locate anything. He was leaving so much out over the middle of the plate, and he just got absolutely smashed. But there's one more game we have to talk about, and I think it's probably the most intriguing when you look at the Dodgers and Nationals. Steven Strasburg versus Walker Buehler. Do you feel any way? Do you lean either way on this one?
Can I tell you what I feel? I feel every bit of tension that Los Angeles is feeling.
Yeah, because they don't want to choke. They don't want to choke.
This is a 106-win baseball team. This team, okay, they won 59 games at home. This is like Cody Bellinger hit 47 bombs, batted 300, and knocked in 115 RBIs, and will be the MVP in the National League. If he gets knocked out in the first round against the Nationals, it's not going to be good, and people are going to be freaking out. But holy cow, how smart was it to move Max Scherzer to let's force Game 5. Let's not pitch him in Game 3, try to steal one early. He was dominant. What did I tell you? Mad Dog was going to be dominant yesterday. He was awesome. You got a big pop from him, and now you got Strasburg against Walker Buehler. This is going to be one of the This is what you want in a closeout game, and it's also the last game on Wednesday.
So
it's 7:37 that's going to start, and I promise you I'll be watching.
So you think they saved? I mean, Walker Buehler last night's game. You think they were saving Walker Buehler for today to try to get this one? I mean, regardless of the situation, this is not a gimme for the Dodgers by any stretch. Steven Strasburg in the playoffs is absolutely insane.
Dude, and he's also had, honestly, one of the, if not, he's had I think it's one of Steven Strasburg's best seasons, period. I mean, Strauss has been pretty awesome. And the fact that he gets the opportunity and a lot of people are going to say I'm crazy. I think the fact that he's going to be on the road is going to make the Dodgers have more pressure. And I know this is a kid who pitched at San Diego State. I know he's going to have family. He's still on the road, okay?
Mm-hmm.
He's that guy that, when sometimes everybody's screaming at you and not cheering for you and booing you and stuff, a lot of times, again, that also is when you have your best stuff. It really just matters. The coolest thing about baseball, it comes down to, like I said, the next pitch, and it's how that guy who's in the next batter's box, can he calm himself down when it's his turn to go up in the batter's box and get the big hit? Can the man on the mound make the pitch? Can the defense behind him? We've had a lot of defensive errors, and we've also had some great defensive plays. Shout out to my man Judge with the cannon and his 6'7".
Good thing he's 6'7". Good thing he is 6'7".
Dude,
because Sano spanked that ball
3 times. Oh yeah, he's a very underrated right fielder. That's for dead gum sure. Everybody thinks of him as just a hitter. Dude can flat out. He can field his position as good as anybody in right field.
John, I think we all kind of think, or at least hope that we know that the Dodgers are this good, that they're going to find a way to win Game 5. But let's say they don't. I mean, with how good of much talent they've had over the last couple of years, of how many deep runs in the playoffs they've made, to not have one commissioner's trophy out of all this, is it time that LA might start thinking of blowing it up and seeing to try something else?
I honestly, that's a great question, Gabe. But again, this is like...
Oh, that was Drew. That was Drew.
I meant Drew. I'm sorry, Drew. That was a great question. They spend so much money on this dead-gum team. Clayton Kershaw, the fact that you could think that this team hasn't won a World Series in so many years, and then they had Clayton Kershaw for all these years at the top of his game. They've tried to put all the pieces around him. They have spent money. They have made it to the World Series, and they just haven't got it done. If they lose tomorrow night in Game 5, this will hurt. Oh, this will hurt so bad. And again, like I said, when you look at their team, they look like they're built for the postseason. I mean, they won 106 regular season games, but maybe they are a regular season stud and just, kind of tighten up too much in the postseason. I don't know. All I know is that I feel like all the pressure is going to be on the Dodgers, and is Turner, is Jock Peterson, is a Max Muncy, is somebody going to take a little bit of pressure off the pitcher tomorrow night, give Walker Buehler a little bit of breathing room, because I think whoever scores first, it's going to help the other pitcher immensely chillax. Like, I think 2-3 runs might win the Nationals-Dodgers game.
Really? Okay. Well,
therefore, take the under, baby.
I'm sure you've already placed that. But of course, we're talking to the normal host of this show, Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. He is on Twitter at Johnny_radio. He's an underscore guy. He always talks about it. We got people worried about you, John. Hope everything's well. Hope everything gets figured out.
Hey.
Obviously, family emergencies happen, and sometimes
dude,
it has to work out this way.
I was going to say, everybody, don't even worry about me, though. Y'all giving my little MC Callie some prayers from y'all, because she got injured, man. It was pretty bad, but she's going to be all right. But I love all of y'all, and Gabe, Drew, thanks for holding down the fort, and thanks for all the
always, man. Appreciate you.
Peace!
All right, man. That was John Harden. Obviously, he took time out of this busy day he's had. He's had some issues go on this week. So he's done a really good job and really helped us out with that. But when we come back, we have to get to Hardenwood. Hardenwood is, John's not here. That doesn't mean we get away from it. But we'll be right back, right here on Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7.
Take Sports 56 with you on your phone or tablet. Download our official Sports 56 app today.
I love fall. The landscape is so beautiful at Town Village Audubon Park. Nestled in the heart of East Memphis, located corner of Park and Cherry, is a beautiful residential neighborhood. Looking for a great place to retire, but you still have a very active lifestyle? Then visit Town Village. Only requirements that you're 55 plus. Prices per month starting at $2,300. Gourmet Chef Drew invites you to visit our restaurant and bistro. package includes 3 complimentary meals per day, maid service, free local transportation, daily check-in, monthly coffee club, theme dinner parties, lots of fun. Visit us and call Daniel at Town Village Audubon Park at 901-374-7342. There's no place like home. Town Village Audubon Park.
If you've always thought, hey, I'd look pretty good in a Lexus, well, guess what? Lexus thinks so too. Lexus is offering you the Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Great offers on all 2019 models and special lease options. Drive in luxury and confidence, knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis, 2600 Ridgeway, and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2019 flagship LS500. Hey, you look pretty good there. Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event at Lexus of Memphis. Experience amazing.
I know I say this all the time.
What, that Central Barbecue goes perfectly with whatever's happening this month?
Well, yeah, but this month it's really true.
Because it's the baseball playoffs.
Well, yeah, and...
We're in the heart of college football season where a lot of the biggest games happen. What better time for Central Barbecue?
Well, come on, let me...
And, of course, the race is really on in the NFL, and what goes better with football than Central Barbecue?
Oh, all right, seriously.
And if, it's also the beginning of hockey season.
That's not fair. You wouldn't even let me see hockey season?
Central Barbecue and sports always go great together.
What he said.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
I want to invite you to come by the Spirit Shop. You know, that little log cabin on Poplar, your liquor and wine oasis. The Spirit Shop has been providing sports fans their beverage needs since way back in 1969. So come in now and get ready for the big game. Whether your favorite team wins or loses, the Spirit Shop will help you celebrate or ease that pain away. The Spirit Shop is open every day, and they're located perfectly at 4848 Poplar. That's the corner of Poplar and St. Nick.
Got something you want to get off your chest?
You better have a backup plan.
Want to join the conversation?
Someone needs to tell him he has to grow up.
Join us on the First Bank phone lines at 360-8255 or the First Bank text line at 67129. Now back to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour.
Kick it over here.
This hour is brought to you by your CBD store, your one-stop for all your natural, organic, and non-GMO CBD products, where good health hits home. Here's Johnny Radio himself, John Harden.
Shackles, ball and chain. Listen to the whistle of the evening train. You know you about to wind up dead. You don't head back.
I have just been told that my Johnny Radio impression is miserable, and I knew it was. That's why I didn't try it in the first hour.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Whatever, man. John does it best. Drew, you think you're good at it, but
I
you
know
what?
I'm good
No,
at
you
it.
think. You think. Okay, John does it best because you know what?
Well, yeah, it's hard.
It's him.
I mean,
he's being genuine.
You're the best at imitating yourself. I mean,
You're not imitating. You're not imitating.
Exactly. I do the best Drew Barrett impression. You do the best Gabe Kuhn impression.
Hell yeah.
But as far as Johnny Radio impressions go, I think I'm top notch.
Well, technically, it's not an impression if you're doing yourself, but whatever. You know, I've heard you do it. Like,
and it's good.
I feel like you think you're better at it than you actually are.
I've been told by multiple sources I'm like at least top 5 in the city.
So this last segment, when we come back, you're gonna join.
I'll bring it back.
Join.
I got you.
I want to hear the what is up. What's up? But I can't do it. I really can't. Obviously, welcome back to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour. I am filling in for the mixologist. I'm Gabe Kuhn, as always. Not as always. I have my buddy over there, Drew Barrett, and he has been helping me out tremendously today. But we're about to get to Hardwood because I have some serious stuff. And I unfortunately, I'm going to have to start at something that's pretty unusual and not fun to talk about, but it's something that still happens nowadays, and it's gross. But then after that, we have some good, funny stuff, don't we, Drew?
Oh, yeah, we got some good stuff lined up for the folks.
Well, then screw it. Let's get to Hardwood right now.
This is Access Hardwood.
Okay. Now, I'm going to start here because this came across my timeline on Twitter yesterday, and Antonio Shelton is a Penn State D-tackle. And someone sent him a letter. This guy, Dave Peterson, decided to send Antonio a letter. And Antonio is he's 6'3", he's 3'11", he has dreads, he's a rather large African-American male, okay? And I'm just going to go ahead and read this letter, and you tell me what you think. Dear Jonathan, actually, wait. Antonio Shelton posted this. I guess this was someone else.
It was to a teammate.
To a teammate. Dear Jonathan, my wife and I are proud older, in quotations, graduates of Penn State. We follow all Penn State sports, football, wrestling, yada, yada, yada. We love it all. I played the sport in my younger days, still played full court, blah, 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 blah. Though the athletes of today are certainly superior to those in my days, we miss the clean-cut young men and women from those days. Watching the Idaho game on TV, we couldn't help but notice your, awful hair. Surely there must be mirrors in the locker room. Don't you have parents or girlfriends who have told you those shoulder-length dreadlocks look disgusting and are certainly not attractive? We congratulate you on your game against Pitt, but you need to remember you represent all Penn Staters, both current and those alumni from years past. I'm sick. Because here's the thing. This dude, Dave Peterson, you might be clean cut as all get out, but what the hell look at your character. I don't care about what someone has on their damn head. I don't care how someone wears their pants. I don't care how someone wears their hair. It's about the character. If you can't see past someone's hair or skin color and you hold prejudices based off these things, I can't help you. That's unbelievable. And the fact that you thought it was okay to send a letter in?
For one, who sends letters in the first place?
Yeah, he's old. He's clearly an old white.
And two, in the letter even brings up, we've stopped watching the NFL due to the long hair and tattooed bodies of these athletes. And
oh my!
You just sound like you just got out of a time machine from 1945.
Absolutely.
Is what you sound like, man. It's 2019. Get with the times. I don't care how old you are, Mr. Peterson.
Whatever. No,
but it's get with the times. And for one, what he looks like and how he feels that he should express himself and his appearance should be is completely up to him and only him. And he does not need your input on it whatsoever, Mr. Peterson. If you have something that you don't think that I do right, or you think that you don't like my tattoos, you don't like my hair, well, guess what?
I don't care.
I don't care. Keep it to your darn self, man. Nobody. That's the thing with people like this that think that they're doing in their minds, quote unquote, a good thing, helping a young man. I'm guessing is how he would say it. He probably say something along the lines of, "I'm helping this young man form a good image for the rest of his career and his life." No, what you're doing is it's being ignorant is what it is.
Holding prejudices and being ignorant based off what someone looks like and what you perceive them to be. It's just unbelievable. But the good news is there's good Daves out there. Dave Woloshin will be next on Sports Time. But Dave Peterson, I'm sorry, man. There's no helping you. There is no helping you. If you're still thinking that way in 2019, there's nothing we can do for you. But did you hear about this, Drew? Tyler Ivins, does that name ring a bell? 99.1 WNML, the sports animal, Knoxville, Tennessee.
I know of the animal.
Listen, he hosts the Gentleman's Hour for the animal, okay? He has made a promise to the fans of the Tennessee Vols that he will stay on top and camp out on top of Toyota Knoxville until the Vols win another game. He's going to be camped out up there. I mean, what? Their next winnable game is in 3 weeks against UAB. Like what? Next week you have 4 weeks. I mistake. Next week Mississippi State. I guess they could pull out an upset. Like I don't know. Mississippi State's not the greatest in the world, but I feel like as far as where Tennessee is at, I do you see them getting a win? I don't. Then you got Bama the next week. Then you got South Carolina. Then you see UAB, and UAB, they almost stopped their program a couple years ago, but this is a team that's been good.
It's been a bowl team.
Yeah, so you might be up there the rest of the season, my guy. Like I don't know why you would promise this, but here's the thing.
And
he
the thing about
stick to it. He better stick to it. Is what I need to say.
I mean, realistically, if you don't beat Mississippi State this week, that's kind of I think other than that. Your best Mississippi State and South Carolina, actually more South Carolina, is your best chance to actually get a conference win before you face Vandy. And a Vandy team and Derek Mason, who's had your number the last 4 years. I mean, this is going to could be a long time for this person.
Hey, look, he better stick to it, man. They better bring food up there, bring drink up there. I don't want any breaks being taken. I don't need him to come down from the roof. He promised he's going to camp out up there, okay? He better spend the night up there every day. If he made this promise, he's got to stick to it. Tyler, you are a bold man. But if you don't stick to it, you better stick to your word, or I mean, Gabe Kuhn's going to come for you.
Well,
right?
I can personally, from having this guy on from Sports Times with Wolo and Stats, we have Vince Ferrara on from the same radio station, the Animal in Knoxville. So we can make sure I can text Vince right now. And we can make sure that this guy stays up there, because if he's going to say he's going to do it,
you got to do it.
Put your money where your mouth is.
You know what I mean?
Dude.
Like don't. If we get here where if they lose the UAB and you don't think that there's another chance that they win until Vanderbilt, I don't care. You still got to stay up there. You promised.
If they lose to Vanderbilt, I mean, does he got? We talking 365 days here? We talking through Christmas,
okay,
Easter?
If they win one game, also, you got to fire Pruitt too. Like one game, that's a futility that program still hasn't seen in a long time. They're 5-7 last season. 1-11 would be a ridiculous turnaround. But that's beyond the point. Stick to your word.
Stay true to what you say. That's why I'm not going to get on here and say something ridiculous like that.
See, I would never do that too. I would never promise to sleep and camp out on top of a building until someone.
I like beds too much, man.
Yeah, I like my bed.
I mean, I'm a hunter and I'm a fisherman. I really am. But as far as camping goes, I'm not a big camper. Like, I like duck camp. I like deer camp. Growing up, my mother's definition of camping or roughing it was a 2-star hotel. Like, that's just something we did not do. Yeah. So
no,
I would never ever.
I could never
survive.
Like I'm not a wilderness guy. I couldn't survive in the wilderness.
I could survive, but I'd much rather have a nice fireplace or a duck camp to go back to.
Because I know people that would thrive out in the wilderness as long as you gave them the basic necessity, give them some fire. Well, they could go find firewood. They could figure it out.
I wouldn't thrive, but I'd survive.
Yeah, but
I could make it.
But yeah, I don't know if you were literally limited to the top of a Toyota dealership, I don't think anyone could survive without proper care. But you had something, Drew?
Yeah, I actually do have a Hardwood story here, and if you've heard me fill in the past, you know that my go-to Hardwood story always has
just
to
type
deal,
in Florida Man.
Always has to do with Florida Man, because those are definitely my favorite. And the one that I found from today, breaking actually last night, 2 Florida men were arrested after allegedly catching an alligator and encouraging it to bite one of the men's arms while forcing it to drink beer. Now, the story does not...
Why would you ever want a drunk or inebriated gator on the loose?
Now, if you read this story and look it up, look at the...
it's like the meth gators.
You have to... It basically is. And you look at the pictures of the 2 guys, of Timothy and Noah, who were arrested for this act in Florida. They look like guys that you would do that. Like you,
really?
Like you pass them on the street, you're like... Yeah, that dude would get an alligator drunk and then try to stick its arm in his mouth and see if it'll bite him. Like, those are the type of dudes. Like, they literally fit the part. Like, if I was casting for a movie, they're my main guys.
Florida Man, if you just say Florida Man ahead of it, that already puts pressure on you.
The weird part is trying to get the gator drunk, right? Like, we can all understand.
How do you wrangle inside? Okay,
as Bobby Boucher says, that a gator is ornery because it's got all them teeth and no toothbrush.
Yeah.
So it's already ornery. We don't need to get the ornery gator drunk. And then 2, whose idea is it to have the gator bite them? Are you trying to show that you're stronger than a gator?
So, and also, I'm confused on how the beer is going to be ingested. Like, do they pry open the mouth of this gator and like pour the beer down?
It doesn't say in any of the different articles that I've read about it.
That's the only way you could do it, right?
That'd be the only way, unless
this gator's not like opening its mouth like, oh, I want this Bud Light.
The reason of getting the gator to bite you is to open the mouth a little bit to pour the beer in. And that's the only 2 ways. But
Florida, man.
I mean, to anybody from Florida, they would have to be embarrassed. Like, I mean, there's got to be some good, outstanding
then you have to be
people from the state of Florida.
You have to be embarrassed every day of your life, then,
because one of these stories comes out every single day.
If you go into news on Google and type in Florida man, there's a chance it's going to be something ridiculous. No, click the top story. And you're good. But I have a story about a Texas man here, Drew. And thanks to Austin Eldridge for sending this in. This is the most ridiculous thing I think I've ever seen. And you're going through your wedding stuff right now.
I am. Getting married next July.
So this Texas man, he has been arrested after his fiance saw a social media post from a police precinct showing her soon-to-be husband robbing a bank the day before his wedding so he could pay for the ring in the venue of his ceremony. Heath Edward Bumpus of Crockett, Texas, is charged with aggravated robbery, and he's been booked into the Trinity County Jail for allegedly approaching the bank teller with a gun at the Citizens State Bank in Groveton, Texas, and saying, "Hey, give me this money. I have to afford my ring in my ceremony."
Gabe,
I hope you're not pressed on money like that, man.
I'm personally, I'm okay, and plus,
okay.
The bride's family's covering most of it.
Okay,
all right?
cool.
But let me tell you something. You think this man is crazy now. Wait until you get down on one knee in front of Taylor and pop the question, and then start looking at price tags, venues, catering, all the different bachelor party, bachelorette party, honeymoon,
but also
hotels for family outside. I mean, it's just so much things to where now sitting here, about 8 months away from getting married, I can see it. Like, yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, 67129, but wouldn't you sort of check price tags beforehand instead of getting on the knee and proposing and then, where am I going to get this money from? Let me go rob a bank.
Gabe, what girl do you know that's about to get married that knows how to check a price tag?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm talking
because I love my fiance, but
men do.
She ain't that good. She ain't that good at checking price tags.
Men know how to check price tags.
I do. And
I do.
But some men, and I'm somewhat in this boat, we don't get votes. And when you do get a vote, you vote wrong.
And this is
so you shouldn't vote in the first place.
This is where the story gets, somewhat better here. Bumpus took his fiance's advice to turn himself in. She said, "Hey, I just saw you on Twitter, on Instagram, on the precinct's social medias, robbing a bank." And he was trying to deny, "Oh, no, I didn't do it. Eventually, they got to the point. She said, "Hey, turn yourself in." He turned himself in. And they're going to have to deal with it.
They're going to work it out?
He accepted the charges. So I don't know what's going to happen with Bumpus, but, good Lord. I check the price tag before you get on the knee. I'm just saying. Pay attention a little bit.
Love will do some crazy things to you. Trust me, you're not in this situation yet. Trust me, when you're in the situation that I am and you see how much things cost, and for people that aren't as fortunate as me that don't have the bride's family covering most of it, it gets really stressful.
Yeah.
And even just a bit that I'm
stressful
to the
covering.
Point
where we're robbing banks.
To go on the original honeymoon, and I'm not going to say the price, but to go on the original honeymoon that my fiance wanted to go on, I would have had to give up. If I was going to pay 100% of it by myself, starting last month, I would have had to give up over 50% of my monthly salary to pay for it.
You would have robbed a
okay?
bank.
So guess what? Women in the heat of a wedding don't really look at price tags and don't think about things right. And I can say all this on the air because I know she's not listening. And if she ever asked me about it, I say, "Baby, that was all for jokes."
She don't listen anymore? Yeah.
She has to listen to me the rest of the day. Why would she listen to me on her free time?
That's how my girlfriend is. She's like, why the hell would I listen to you?
But just wait. When you get engaged, you will know this far-fetched story that you think, why would anybody do that? You can kind of go, I can see it, yeah. I mean, I'm not that desperate, but I could get there.
Robbing a bank the day before your wedding to get the ring. And look, that's a different level I've never heard of. But that'll do it for Hardwood, it sounds like. But we're going to come back. I have some breaking news about a former Tiger football player that is absolutely interesting. And a couple more pieces of news about the Tiger football team right now. Don't touch the dial. Sports 56, 96.1, 87.7.
Sports 56 now has 2 FM homes. You can now find real sports talk on 96.1 as well as 87.7 on your FM dial.
Dirt happens, as well as debris, dust, and damage. And when they happen to you, you need good, clean, fast service. You need Hilo Commercial Services. Hilo specializes in construction, commercial, food plant, and industrial cleaning with customized service just for you. Hilo is also an expert at high dusting to clean hard-to-reach places. When dirt happens, call Hilo Commercial Services, 901-277-6733, or visit HiloCommercial.com. Hilo Commercial Services, good, clean, and fast for you.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Right now at VisionWorks, when you buy one complete pair of glasses, you get a second free. That means you could get a pair of glasses and a free pair of prescription sunglasses. So you don't have to do the thing where you wear your glasses under your sunglasses when you drive. Or you can get a pair of glasses and a free second pair with different frames. Or a free backup pair. Or maybe another scenario we didn't think of. No matter what, when you buy one pair of glasses, you get one free at VisionWorks. VisionWorks. See the difference. Offer expires 10/24. Restrictions apply. See store for details.
Fall is fast approaching, and you know what that means. Time to start thinking about covering your pool. The best way to protect your pool, your loved ones, and your pocketbook is with a safety pool cover. Mario's Pools on Exeter and Germantown has the best advertised price on all pool safety covers, solid and mesh. Keep your pool looking great year after year. A safety cover requires less maintenance, saves money on chemicals and water, prevents standing water, and extends the life of your liner. Call Mario's Pools at 552-3399. That's 552-3399, or just walk in and see him in Germantown on Exeter Road. Plus, he specializes in pool closings. Mario's has an A rating with the Better Business Bureau. Check out his reviews on Facebook. Protect your investment. Call Mario's Pools today. 552-3399.
Sundays and Mondays are special at the Butcher Shop, celebrating over 35 years of serving the Mid-South by giving a big thank you to you, their loyal customers. You can come in, relax, watch your favorite games, and enjoy hand-cut steaks along with a premium bar. Sunday and Monday nights from 5 until 8:30, you can get select entrees for $25. That includes a salad, baked potato, and bread, and you don't have to pick one, you get all three. Some of those entrees are 10-ounce New York strip steak, slow-roasted prime rib, Atlantic Atlantic salmon with dill sauce, marinated grilled chicken breast, grilled boneless pork chops, and crab stuffed shrimp. Plus, all appetizers and desserts are 20% off. Don't forget, Hamburger Friday every Friday from 11 to 2. It's the best. The Butcher Shop, always a Memphis tradition. Call 901-757-4244, 901-757-4244 for more information, or just stop in at 107 South Germantown Parkway in Cordova.
Pop the top on your next party. 34 North Cocktails. Available in Memphis now. Great for Football Grove parties, around the hunting campfire, and when you get home, entertain friends. Pop a premium can of Barrel Thief. Tastes just like an old-fashioned Barrel Thief made with aged bourbon, bitters, a hint of orange, a touch of vanilla, 15% ABV. Then, for you vodka lovers, try Sneaky Pucker, a refreshing lemonade premium vodka cocktail, 12.5% ABV. Made with super premium vodka, lavender, simple syrup, and lemonade. Delicious and smooth. Let the party begin with 34 North Cocktails.
Now back to Johnny Radio's Happy Hour.
Kick it over here.
This hour is brought to you by your CBD store, your one-stop for all your natural, organic, and non-GMO CBD products, where good health hits home. Here's Johnny Radio himself, John Harden.
Shackles, ball and chain. Listen to the whistle of the evening train. You know you about to wind up dead. You don't head back to Tennessee jail.
Welcome back in. It's been a long day, not just been in here all day, but it's going, man. It is going, and absolutely. Up next will be Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. They are going to take you through the rest of the day from 3 to 6 and drive you home, but I came across this news. It just broke out of Central Michigan. Former Tiger quarterback David Moore has been suspended for the year due to a banned substance. He tested positive, and in what it looks like, they did not deny the positive test, Central Michigan that is, but they cited the use of an over-the-counter nutritional supplement as the cause. And the problem, and this happens way too often. I don't understand.
Like, y'all got nutritionists,
There
right?
is nutritionists. There's people in there, and usually you can go to a strength staff. There's a whole, and the thing that gets me is there's an entire website based upon legal supplements for student athletes. So obviously he's a guy who has sort of hit his stride with Central Michigan. He's been starting for the past 3 games. Just got a really big win over Eastern Michigan. He went 15 for 24 for 279 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. Obviously, David Moore is a quarterback that sort of lost his. This was 2 years ago. He lost his the QB competition with Brady White, and ended up leaving for Central Michigan. Brady McBride was actually the next year. But you hate to see that, and especially that way.
So ultimately, for this stuff to happen nowadays, with all the different resources that not just Power 5 schools, but every school in America has, with all the resources and the actual, I guess it's an NCAA.com webpage that has.
I mean, it's not an NCAA thing, but it's literally a whole website dedicated to legal supplements for these student athletes. So it's very interesting.
So therefore,
that he got caught like that.
So therefore, if something like this happens nowadays, we can throw out the excuse of I didn't know.
Yeah,
I didn't know it was banned. Like we can.
Yeah.
There's so many different resources out there for guys to where you can't use that excuse anymore.
Yeah, it's been like that for a while now. And like Will Grier, when he got in trouble at Florida, that was an excuse they tried to use, and I don't ever think it was valid. I mean, it was never really valid.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'm not saying that you would ever try to take something that was like that, but did you ever find something that maybe the coaching staff didn't have already prepared for you that you would take to a coach personally?
I'll tell you what, when I was at Memphis, I went to our strength staff and asked, hey, what supplements should I use? And they pointed me directly in the right direction. Like there was no confusion. It was a very quick conversation, very easily. And like you said, that excuse is sort of out of date at this point.
And the only way that a guy could, I guess, technically use that excuse is if, he just avoided every single source that was out there and just said, I'm just going to take care of it on my own. I don't need to ask anybody. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah,
but even at that point, that's not smart thinking.
Yeah.
When there's so many of these different supplements that have banned substance in them, everybody needs to be on their P's and Q's about it. And for you not even to try to be on it is just as bad as you intentionally doing it.
Yeah, it's just a lack of responsibility, and you'll see that with a lot of kids. But yeah, David Moore at Central Michigan is going to be out for the year. On the Tigers front, though, it looks like we have some good news. Dylan Parham actually got hurt in the game against Louisiana Monroe. He will be back. He has been practicing as well as a guy that we haven't seen all year in Chris Claybrooks. He is a defensive back that they have been dying to have back. Joey Bryant has sort of been filling in that position at cornerback for him, and he will be healthy this week.
I'm excited to see Chris Claybrooks back, but I think Joey Bryant's been doing a great job.
I think that defense altogether, Adam Fuller, all those players playing their role within it, they've done a great job.
They really have. I mean, this is the first year in a long time where you can actually list the defense as a strength of the team and not go for, last year and a lot of years under Chris Ball, we made excuses for him, saying, they're opportunistic. They're there for the big play.
And then last
year,
when
they need the turnover, they get it. And then last year,
not so much.
It didn't work out, and that's the problem with being a mindset of opportunistic. Always try to go for the turnover, not secure the tackle. When you play that type of reckless defense, it's going to eventually bite you in the butt. And that's what happened with Chris Ball's defenses last year. So I love that Adam Fuller's come in and kind of switch that around to where we're going to be shut down and the turnovers will come on their own. We're not going to try to create them because it's just going to happen. It's a part of football.
Yeah,
we don't need to try to force them.
There's more not breaking. They don't break as much and they give up. They're still opportunistic, but they give up less points in general. They don't give up the touchdowns. They limit them to field goals, like you saw with Louisiana Monroe at the end of that game, and they held up. Not so great in the first half, but the second half, they sort of came into their own and helped that team out and helped them win that game.
And real quick, for Tiger fans out there, if you ever want to win a trivia contest, Joey Bryant, first Hawaiian-born player to ever play at the University of Memphis. Also a very, very nice guy. Met him a couple of times. Great dude.
Hawaii-born.
First Hawaii-born player to ever play at the University of Memphis.
That's a John Stacey stat if I've ever heard one.
It is.
But obviously, I heard Peter and CJ talk about this earlier. I didn't want to touch it too hard with Daryl Morey and the Chinese problem going on with all the protesting. There's a lot going on there, but China has announced that they will not broadcast or stream any more NBA preseason games held there. And obviously, this is just an escalation of what Daryl Morey's comments were and sort of the afterwards response to those comments. But it's been a great day. It has been an awesome day.
I've enjoyed it.
Drew. Thanks, Drew, for coming in. Obviously, John will be back tomorrow. We will not be in, me and Drew. I will be on the other side of the glass, as I normally am, taking my normal spot. Next, coming up, is Sports Time with Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy and Drew Barrett as well. So make sure you tune in. Don't touch that dial. Right here on Real Sports Talk, Sports 56, 96.1, and 87.7 FM.
It's back. The Carhartt Crazy Sale at Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch. Visit Frontier this month for huge markdowns on clearance Carhartt items. The latest fall line just launched also, and Frontier is fully stocked. We've got jeans, shirts, bib, overalls, jackets, coats, gloves, belts, boots, and more. And to make room for all the new items, we've discounted a number of short-sleeve plaids and T-shirts. Save up to 50%. All Carhartt jeans are now $5 off. This is the last jean sale of the year, so stock up now for yourself or for someone else for the upcoming holidays. Christmas will be here before you know it, so you might as well save some cash now on what you know you'll need. Also this month, we are including a buy one, get one half-price sale on all novelty T-shirts by Simply Southern, Girly Girl, Live Oak, and more. It's the Carhartt Crazy Sale and more at Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, and on the web at frontierwesternstore.com. Family